After Niger coup, hope rises as junta leader opens talks with ECOWAS. And later on the show, experts debate who gets what as ministerial screening ends. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Kolawole Johnson. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. The search for peace in the southeast continues. In this regard, the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has followed its decision to abolish sit-at-home in the zone with sensitization campaign towards putting a permanent end to the protests. IPOB spokesperson Ima Powerful said the people of the southeast should know that the sit-at-home is not only dead, but will never be used again as a tool for civil disobedience. Let me start from Kolawole Johnson. Ima Powerful is speaking on behalf of IPOB now, but knowing that the struggle in the southeastern part of the country, after the IPOB guys, they've kind of deregulated the struggle, and you have all sort of players that are not necessarily the Kano backed people in the struggle right now. We have multiple players, hoodlums, criminals coming to masquerade as freedom fighters that are at the vanguard of enforcing this crippling Monday sit-at-home.
When you have non-state actors taking charge of the duties of state actors, you don't expect a seamless, or you may not expect a cohesive leadership. Tunes of discordance, it's part of what you see in them. But the havoc itself is being wreaked continuously, and that is what we are faced with. That whoever, whether it is Group A or Group B, when it started, they all supported it. August 2021, when this started. Remember, they all supported recently, was it last year or thereabout? I remember there was going to be a national exam, and the faction declared sit-at-home. It took the younger brother of Kanu himself to come out to say, no, you can't declare sit-at-home when there are students who are meant to write examinations. Unfortunately, they still went to some places to even dislodge the students and even touch some schools. Today,
such schools are bliss.
Yes, today, estimate or research has it that the southeast itself of the economy at large has lost over 7 trillion naira since this started. As at May 2023, 71 Mondays, and they also told us for every single day that they declare sit-at-home, that the transport sector alone loses an average of 3 billion naira. Now, of the over 1.3 trillion nano and micro businesses in Anambra, you know what they lose each day. We go to Abia that has about 770,000 of such businesses. Southeast is the home of business. You don't shut it.
Area market.
You don't.
A market.
Of course, it's not a place that you hold back the people from doing what they know how to do best. And unfortunately, if care is not taken, thank God that they are stepping in to stop it now. It's not only affecting the economy of the Southeast, it is already affecting the economy of the nation, and this is why we must step in to ensure that non-state actors don't determine the dynamics or don't define the dynamics of a society.
Okay, today is another Monday. I want our viewers from the Southeast. Just call in, tell us the situation in any states of the Southeast. Just tell us the situation. We want to know what actually transpired today. Maybe, Jide, the governor of Enugu State, he has been at loggerheads, and one of his determination is to put a kind of end to this. It has been tried by the governor of Anambra State before now. The thing did not work out, but Enugu State governor has dissipated a lot of, prioritized this thing, that this Monday thing must stop.
Yes, and he said the state loses at least 10 billion, every Monday.
Every Monday.
Yes. A survey that was conducted showed that in 71 Mondays, the Southeast lost 5.4 trillion in business. And
5.4 trillion.
this survey took into cognizance all shades of businesses, whether nano businesses or small scale businesses and all that. So naturally, this sort of thing should end. In any case, IPOB declared a long time ago that the sit-at-home should be only on days that Nnamdi Kanu will be brought, is being taken to court. But the cultists and other brigands that hijacked this whole thing do not want to even obey the instruction of IPOB that instituted it in the first place. So every Monday they want to enforce it. And people, because security is also usually lax on those Mondays, with checkpoints unmanned, with policemen also observing sit at home, it's difficult for people to take the risk of coming out, because if you do that, you are putting your life in danger. So it has gone on. And the funny character who is based in Finland has taken this joke too far. Igbo leaders appealed to Nnamdi Kanu to renounce this sit-at-home, and he did it in written form. In his own handwriting, he wrote that, look, sit-at-home of any sort. And when he said of any sort, he was referring to even on days when he's brought to court. Yeah. This economy of the Southeast has suffered. Everyone can see.
You know, if you think you love your people,
you can't be watching them. No less than 250 people have been killed while this sit-at-home is being enforced, including security men and women. So now what IPOB has done is to say, okay, the Mondays will now be economic empowerment days. So it's no longer for sit-at-home, it will now be economic empowerment day. People who can't pay their school fees, people who are weak economically, they are now appealing to people to use such days to assist those people so that they can galvanize the economy of the Southeast again, because it's the Southeasterners who are losing. If you say, okay, Mondays there should be sit-at-home, people will divert their businesses to neighboring states, and that's what we are seeing. Akwa Ibom, a lot of the Igbo guys now divert their containers to Akwa Ibom so that they can open their containers on Monday morning. That is their traditions. On Monday morning that they want to open their containers, see what's in it. So they've resolved now that they will divert their businesses to those neighboring states, Delta, Akwa Ibom, and the rest. So that's what is happening now. I think everyone has come to the realization that this thing is hurting everyone, hurting the Southeast. And when I was reading that the governor, that Anambra cannot even make, by way of internal generated revenue, Anambra cannot make 3 billion in a month. With all the potential of that state, with the big market there,
that's hot.
With the level of commerce going on there, there's no way I can be convinced that even this sit-at-home has not played a part in ensuring that Anambra State does not actually make enough money. You know?
Kola, now when you look at the main cause of this agitation,
Yeah.
they want better life, they want inclusion, they want to be integrated. That's what they're agitating for. That's what started this whole thing.
Oh my.
Do you think government past and this present administration sending any kind of signal that, look, that, oh, you're part of us, They want this inclusivity. They want to have a fair share.
Okay. I will try as much as possible to be, well, maybe historical a little bit. Well, first, let me commend the present governors of the Southeast for taking the bull by the horn to end this. Sometimes last year, somebody told us that if the Southeast governors decide today that the sit-at-home should end, that it will end. And we are seeing that they started the agitation first. It was a number governor, and now the Enugu governor. And they are making a lot of headway. Now, let's go to the agitation.
Let me quickly pick this call. Case Andu is calling us from Owerri. That's Imo State.
Okay. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Case Andu. Please just give us the situation there today.
The truth about it is that here in Owerri Metropolis, there is slight movement of vehicles and humans. But I am from Ihitu Boma in Okigwe zone. Like the last week I was in my village. On Mondays, you don't move around. It's not possible. It can't be possible. If you come back for weekend, you must stay till Tuesday before you come back. And this is how bad it is. You see, we are not enjoying it. We don't like it. But let me also say that the lackadaisical attitude of the federal government and state government over this issue is what is paining us, the citizens. What is the remote cause of this whole thing? That is another thing. Government has failed to address some of these issues. Like, for instance, what is actually keeping this man in detention after the court has actually proclaimed that he should be released? These are issues. We have also talked about...
Let me take it from there. Thank you, Case Andu.
Coming up all these way.
Thank you, Case Andu. He added the Nnamdi Kanu, the continued incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes, the reason for the declaration of the sit-at-home, I think it was tailored towards the release of Kanu, and no doubt about that. A court of competent jurisdiction has ruled on that. And it behoves on the government to obey and release. But if you're talking about inclusion, generally in Nigeria, because of the kind of politics we play, identity politics, everybody's shouting and making, we're all shouting about inclusion. Oh, let us have more of this. Let us have more of this. Because first, we brought ourselves to the center. Not because we also have that interest of everyone at heart. Remember, Nigeria was operating a regional approach to governance until 1966. The Ironsi, the Kaduna coup, right? Now, after that coup, Ironsi came on board and brought unitary government. Each region was developing without this central approach to development. It was because we came to the central that we brought ourselves together, that we are now shouting about, include me in the center.
Okay,
no, sorry. No. See, if you don't hear this point, you may not. So if Ironsi had not brought the unitary approach to government, no part of the nation today would be shouting inclusion, because we would have been developing in a different regions. Honestly.
Julie, finally on this, do you think the continued incarceration of Nnamdi Kanu will douse the tension, as in reduce the tension if it's released?
I think so. I have repeatedly demanded that we take a second look at his matter and embrace the option of dialogue. I believe that if he will agree to renounce armed struggle against our country,
has not to renounce that.
Yes, armed struggle.
The Biafra Republic. That is.
Yes, that's what I mean by armed struggle, because some of the demands are not. Some of the modus operandi you can't say is peaceful. To an extent,
they want a referendum to be conducted.
Violence was introduced into it. So that's what I'm saying. If he will agree to renounce armed struggle against the Nigerian state and recognize the fact that the Southeast is part and parcel of our country, there's no point keeping him. What are we gaining from keeping him in detention? And even the moves that he has made now shows that, look, it's possible for him to obey all the stipulations that go with his release. So I think government should look into that instead of simply saying, oh, let the case be decided in court and all that. It's not, what do we lose if we say, look, we want to embrace dialogue, and both sides sit together and say, look, in the interest of peace, this is what we should do. It too, I believe that it too will be willing to...
Okay. Now, dialogue remains the best alternative to war, and the coup leaders in Niger Republic are beginning to realize this. After meeting with the coup plotters in Niamey, the capital of Niger, some Islamic scholars from Nigeria said the leader has agreed to hold direct talks with ECOWAS to resolve the standoff. What was all this grandstanding about at the initial stage? This is what should have happened at the beginning.
See, you don't come to the negotiating table empty-handed. You just got in there, they said leave. This happened under President Olusegun Obasanjo, but it was in faraway Sao Tome, don't forget. Then he had already become an institution that enjoyed that international support. And there was, the internal dynamics was right for him to, to do that to Sao Tome. Now, for Niger Republic, beside us there, they believe that they are part of this country, directly or indirectly. And so when the president of Nigeria said, gave that command, of course, it's a sovereign nation. And so they also wanted to, put their own standpoint on the table that know that we are sovereign and we can control our country by ourselves. But after a while also, they will, they will come to the table. That is the end point. But don't forget, all of this, whether the whether the ECOWAS or the coup guys in Niger, we are still being controlled by external factors. I'll take you back to, is it 1865 now or so? During the Berlin Conference, there was a scrambling for Africa, and they shared Africa to themselves. Now, years after that, we thought we have already built ourselves from those colonial masters. Today, Russia is backing some forces in Africa, while the West is also backing some forces. But we must not push ourselves to war. We cannot afford that. So coming to the table is good not just for the Nigerians. It is also good for the entire West African countries.
So, Jide, the standoff. Now the possibility of dialogue and between ECOWAS and military junta in Niger Republic now is making things look brighter. So because over the weekend I saw some demonstrators in Kano. They were demonstrating that no, we should not go to war, and the tension and everything, telling President Bola Tinubu that no, don't go to war with these people and everything. So right now we can now be talking about diplomacy.
Yes, but first and foremost, people you understand that it's not Bola Tinubu going to war. It is ECOWAS that said the option of military action is on the table. Why people are making it look like it's Bola Tinubu's war, it's Bola Tinubu's agenda.
But when they did the past spending, when they brought the budget together, they say Nigeria, we are going to take 60%.
It's always been like that.
Yes, that's 60% of the spending.
Not just in
60% of the contributions is going to come from Nigeria. That means we can decide to go to that we are the one bearing the brunt.
You see, the point that I'm making is this is an ECOWAS resolution. Nigeria is one country in ECOWAS. The fact that we are privileged, we are richer than others does not make it a one nation affair. It's not simply Bola Tinubu going to war or Bola Tinubu wants to go to war. Why do people reason like this? It's a resolution, and even the AU now has said that they support everything that ECOWAS has done. So it has even become partly an AU affair.
The larger house.
So what I quarrel with is the idea, trying to make it look like it's Nigeria that wants to go to war with Niger Republic. No, that's not how. It's just like saying that, oh, because Syria was a neighbor of Iraq during the Gulf War, Syria contributed about 50,000 troops. It's just like saying Syria going to war with Iraq. But that was not what happened. The allied nations came together to fight Iraq. Saudi Arabia contributed troops. Kuwait, all of those countries fought against Iraq. People must always make that point clear that it is an ECOWAS resolution. And I've said before that I'm not even convinced that the Togolese president is not more interested in bringing this military regime down than Asiwaju. Because those smaller states think that once Niger gets away with it, it could come to them. And if you ask me, the chances of a military coup taking place in Niger Republic, in Togo and in Benin Republic, is a lot higher than Nigeria. It's going to be a lot easier in those countries than here. So they are worried. They think that the way this thing is going, if they don't find a way to stop it, it's going to spread. And today is Niger Republic, tomorrow it could be Benin Republic. Next tomorrow it could be. That is the idea. All of them feel bad that this is going on. All of the sentiments that people are bringing in, there was even one fake news that Ghana said it will not contribute troops. This and that. Lies. We always want to exploit every situation. I have said repeatedly that I don't want war. But our people have to realize that the ECOWAS has prioritized dialogue above war. War is usually the last resort. Look at how long it took. So many months they were telling Saddam to withdraw his troops from Kuwait. He didn't listen. So war at that time was the last resort. Because he didn't listen. They imposed sanctions, he didn't listen. So I believe that dialogue can achieve this aim. As I've said before, Niger Republic is a country almost entirely dependent on Nigeria. Nigeria has had to even help them pay salaries of workers in the past. Some of their presidents have lived in Abuja there. When they left office, they lived in Abuja at Nigeria's expense. It's a landlord country, failed state. It's been a failed state for years. So no one wants to see war, because when you start a war, you don't know where it will end. I don't even want war. I'm convinced that the Niger Republic, when it comes to warfare, with what they have at their disposal, they can't go to war. They are too weak to go to war. What have they got? They are saying that they close airspace. I can tell you today
they don't have
that if we want to send to Kano, they will breach. They don't even have air defenses. They are complaining that France breached their airspace. Maybe you said shoot down French planes now. Let us see. So let's apply a little more pressure. Maybe, just maybe, these guys will give up and allow this. But I know that at worst they are going to, when they start talking, they will say, we are going to do short transition. That short transition, you will just see that 2 years.
They want to sit tight.
Yeah.
They are threatening to prosecute President Bazoum, the former president, the ousted president, that they want to prosecute him, charge him for high treason. Now, if they do that, what will that do to the peace talk of the negotiation?
Nothing. It is part of increasing their stake on the negotiating table. That okay, we'll drop this. We'll drop these charges against him when they get to the table. It's in preparation for talks. See, what the ECOWAS is scared of, just like he said, is the bushfire effect from the very first coup in Egypt to the very first one in West Africa in 1963. Now, coup became something common. It was going from one place to another. So that is what they are trying to avoid. But we must also look at the internal dynamics. If the civilian authority would also ensure that the military stay in the barrack. We must promote good governance. Mao Zedong say that the party would always control the gun, provided that your people can be with you. The military will take over and they will be jubilating. We should also look at those factors, that politicians should learn to do things correctly. Whatever is doing to the president is simply to increase the stake on the negotiating table, nothing more.
All right, we'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out.
In today's world, our lifestyle, both at work and at play, depends on connectivity. Our connectivity depends on the devices that make it possible, and these devices depend on electric power. When power fails, our life shrinks, our work drops, and our joy dips. JRB Solar Energy Systems are here to ensure that we enjoy uninterruptible power, uninterruptible joy. Whether you're running a business, an institution, or just a home you return daily to rest, JRB has got you covered. No project is too big for our super digital inverters, long-lasting batteries, and efficient solar panels. Go. Dream on. Change your world. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar streetlights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. With JRB, the sun's gonna shine on everything you do.
Like many things in life, making great music is a process. And a key part of that is the right data, and the data that helps you understand what needs to be done and how to do it, and what sound will connect with listeners.
No, bring it up. Let's go everybody see.
Whatever aspect of life you're into, enjoy the journey. 9 Mobile's got you covered.
Dial *301# now.
9 Mobile. You're heading home from work. In the busy traffic, your car breaks down. Car horns blast. Your car is pushed aside. You call for help. Phone battery blinks and dies. You take a cab. Few miles, tire bursts. What a day. Frustrated, sweating, and tired. Nearing home, darkness envelops the street. Wow! Just one house is bubbling with life. Brilliant lights, loud music, smiling wife, all welcome you.
We alone have light?
Yes, it's JRB Solar Energy Systems, my anniversary present to us.
No matter how dark life is, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar streetlights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. JRB, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do.
Thank you for staying with us. The storm generated by the ministerial screening by the Senate has died down, but expectations are still high about inauguration of the cabinet members and their portfolios. Experts are now involved in debate over who gets what among the ministers designates. Today, we have, for the first time, we have names of 47 ministers here, although three has not been pledged. So we'll work with 45. So let's start from Cross River States. That beautiful lady, Betta Edu.
Well, the president has at least 3 medical doctors on that list. It is said that the Ministry of Health will be split into 2. With one minister taking charge of public health, and another minister taking maybe primary health care or something. I don't know exactly. but it's a possibility that the ministry will be split into two.
It's big enough to...
Yes, but Betta Edu has done very well as a woman leader of the APC, despite her young age. So the president may also decide to make her the Women Affairs Minister. You know, if the president decides to do that, he will have chosen the right person in my view, because she has shown that she has leadership qualities. You know, so and of course we also have on that list the Rivers State Governor.
Yes, former Rivers State Governor.
Yes, the Rivers State Governor, I think when you talk about infrastructure in our country, there are 3 governors that come to mind. Or let me say 4 governors come to mind. Isom Wike, Governor Umara Zulum, the governor of Ebonyi State.
Dave Umahi.
Dave Umahi, yes. And okay, those 3 readily come to mind. You see the work that Governor Zulum has done. You can't believe it. You can't believe it. Even in dangerous places, it's done fantastically well. So the president can either make Wike the Minister of Works, or give that to the Ebonyi man.
Yes.
Both of them are very similar in terms of their love for bridges,
infrastructure.
You know, in the case of Umai, even his own bridges are very colorful.
He likes colors.
Yes. He's a man, yes, he's a man in love with color. So his bridges are far more beautiful, you know, than any of the bridges that I've seen across the states. So, frankly, the choice is that of the president, and then you have Bauchi, the representative from Bauchi, Yusuf Tuga. Yusuf Tuga is an ambassador. Yes, he's not a career diplomat, but on this list, he's the one who has some experience in foreign service. So, if we are to put round peg in round hole, then
to look at foreign affairs,
it could be the next foreign affairs minister.
Okay, we call Awali. Yeah. We have Ali Pate and Jigawa Muhammadu Badiru.
Yeah,
Muhammad Badiru. On this list,
I will pitch directly without blinking my eye. Pate for for public health, because we also heard they're splitting that they will split the ministry into two. The ministry into two. So I'll be pitching Pate for
fits directly into that
expressly, without even without mortar at all. For Badaru,
yes,
I'll be looking at for him. I'll be looking at agriculture or trade and investment, but because the Imo lady will fit perfectly into trade and investment, I think I'll be looking at Badaru for agriculture. Just like he mentioned the Dave Umahi, what he's done in Ebonyi. I think he fits perfectly into the Ministry of Works. While for Wike, I'll be looking at somebody who can turn the FCT around. The last time we had a working minister in the FCT was during El Rufai. Another person that can do that this time around, I think we could be looking at Wike in that realm. But for these two you've mentioned, Pate and Jigawa, Pate for public health, then for Badaru, I think I'll be looking at agriculture. I would have been thinking of something else, maybe, but because you have Adelabu from Oyo in the team who will fit perfectly into budget and planning. I think I would just pitch Badaru for agriculture. Okay. But it is left to his boss to choose the very best place.
So looking at that list now, we go to Katsina. Katsina, we have two. Ahmed Dangiwa and Natu Musawa. And so for those two, for Katsina State.
Yes, the president graciously brought two ministers from Katsina State. The Ahmad Dangiwa is immediate past secretary to the government of the state, and he was also the man in charge of the Federal Mortgage Bank, where he did a lot of work. So we could be looking at the minister, for him, a minister of housing, because he's a trained architect. And again, if the focus is to put square pegs in round hole, he's been prepared for that role, having been in charge of mortgage banking, at the federal level. And now to Musa, my feeling is that the president is going to split the information ministry into two. We have always demanded for that. The information ministry.
Okay.
Yes, so that the tourism and the culture element of it should then go to a different minister. In the past, it just didn't seem like culture and tourism was taken care of under that ministry. Everything. So for me, if we want to really, because there's a lot of potential in tourism, so what it needs is an energetic, forward-thinking minister who would help realize the potential there. It cannot be realized unless we unbundle that ministry and give the tourism, the culture, entertainment end of it the funding and attention that I require. So my feeling is that could be where the president wants to put Anatu Musawa to use, because she's a poet, she's a writer, and she's young. So I'm sure she'll be able to relate well with our stars in the entertainment industry. Let's see where government can be of help to them.
Okay. Let's take you to Kebbi State, where you have Atiku Bagudu and Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi.
For the former governor of Kebbi State, we should be looking at, he's a former lecturer. We may be looking at Ministry of Education. Of course, it's a ministry that will require not someone that will come to tell you that he didn't know anything about the ministry before he got there. And so for him, I would likely be looking at the Ministry of Education, for him. But I think he can also, having served over the years in different capacities, including two-time governor, I think he can fit in many other places too. And for Ebonyi, I think I can stake something on this, that the man will be coming as the Minister of Works, especially to make up. I'll be expecting some political consideration too. You put competence there, loyalty and political exigency. The Southeast only has 5.
We'll talk about that. So when we finish reviewing this,
because of that, because of that, if you put David Umahi in Works, I think he would have made up. Is more than 3-4 ministers, combined. So I think we'll be looking at Works for David Umahi.
So Jide, we have
Bagudu.
Dele Alaki.
Bagudu, before we go to Dele,
okay,
Bagudu could also be in the running for Minister of Agric.
Okay. Yes.
You know?
Yes. He did well.
The
collaboration.
The president is quite aware of his capacity in that area. Yes, as a former lecturer and a brilliant man, very brilliant man, probably the most cerebral governor of his generation. There are many areas where the president can use him. But the president has seen what he could do in the area of agriculture, and he could...
He's exploiting rice.
He could be looking in that direction, you know. He could be looking in that direction, but clearly between him and Badaru, who never worked in government until he became governor. You know, he's always been a businessman, an international businessman. The president could be looking at one of the two of them for that role. As for Dele
Alaki and Bosun Tijani from Ogun State.
Dele Alaki, in my view, will be the next Minister of Information and National Orientation. We've always said that Noah has not been doing his best. I believe now, once the ministry is split, the matter of national orientation, you know, is a very serious one.
Not information and strategy now.
Ministry of Information and National Orientation. I don't know about strategy. Okay. I don't know whether at the national level you can be talking about strategy.
There's a special advisor.
He was a special advisor on strategy.
There's already a special advisor on that.
He was
information strategy.
Given what they want to do, time is a gentleman. We'll see.
Okay.
What they want to
Let me quickly pause you. Let's take this breather. We'll be right back. We'll be back after the summers.
In today's world, our lifestyle, both at work and at play, depends on connectivity. Our connectivity depends on the devices that make it possible, and these devices depend on electric power. When power fails, our life shrinks, our work drops, and our joy dips. JRB Solar Energy Systems are here to ensure that we enjoy uninterruptible power, uninterruptible joy. Whether you're running a business, an institution, or just a home you return daily to rest, JRB has got you covered. No project is too big for our super digital inverters, long-lasting batteries, and efficient solar panels. Go. Dream on. Change your world. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar streetlights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. With JRB, the sun's gonna shine on everything you do.
Right, welcome back. We're still checking the 2023 Bola Ahmed Tinubu ministerial nominees. They are yet designates. They are yet to get their ministries. And
yes, quickly, we are talking about Dele Alaki.
Yeah.
Dele Alaki is death certainty for the Ministry of Information and National Orientation.
okay.
So except the president changes his mind, I think it will be called orientation, information and national orientation. And as I said earlier, the tourism element of that ministry and culture, as well as entertainment, will be under a different person.
Okay.
Which, in my view, will be very good for the nation.
So, did you just add Bosun Tijani? From Ogun State? Somebody we know?
Well, he's a very techy person.
Okay.
He's one of the, when we were saying we wanted technocrats, Bosun is as brilliant as they come, and Frankly, I was happy when eventually the Senate
Cleared him.
Decided to forgive him for some of his earlier.
Part of his
But he's an entrepreneur, young man who has also
made his mark.
So these are the kind of people that we need. I cannot say with certainty where the president intends to use him. I don't know.
Digital economy.
That's a very strategic ministry. It could be where the president wants to use, but I don't know. Maybe he has his Abuja airs to the ground.
But what do you think?
I'll be pitching to Janin directly for digital economy.
Okay.
I'm not too sure if they will split the ministry. Yeah, I don't know, which is very likely. But if you leave the young man in digital economy, he's brought in Mark here before. He is driven, IT hubs across, not just in Nigeria, across. So put him the round peg. I think I will be looking at him in the Ministry of Digital Economy, not just to superintend, but to build a tribe of, tech savvy youth who can generate, something from there. Remember the president said during campaign that he was going to turn youth from job seekers to job providers. One place that can happen very quickly is is digital economy in the IT industry.
In Ondo State,
yeah,
Olatunji Ojo and the Osun State, Adegboyega Oyetola. Wow, that's good.
For Boyega Oyetola.
Okay.
That's
Olubumi. That's Ojo.
We can't do everything today.
Yes.
That's Olawale Edu now.
Edu is finance. I think you can just
take that to the bank.
Yes.
Okay.
We are not going to take Edu to sports. It has to Bumi Ojo is another young man, one of the youngest. Who is okay? I think Beta is the youngest now.
Yes, 36 with
Bumi is one of the youngest on that list, and Bumi can function in a variety of roles. The ministry is someone who can function in the Ministry of Transportation, for example. Transportation. I think that transportation could also be broken into two. Transportation used to have aviation. Yes, now it was broken, and I'm saying that even now it can still be broken so that the maritime economy can stand on its own. If the president wants to do that, Bumi Ojo will be someone very useful in that area. I also think that he also has competence in oil and gas because he has functioned as a consultant in that sector. He has a history of working in that sector and delivering solid success. So if the president wants someone amongst his team with a proven record of working in the oil and gas sector, Bumi Ojo could function there because he has that record.
Yes. In addition to that, I think what you just described about the maritime, sector. Look at Singapore. Look at what they are doing with the maritime economy, and if it's got the requisite, competence to bring IT into that industry to drive it. If that is the that is the direction the president is looking at. Again, coming from Ondo State, that delivered from the president, for the president politically, with just one ministerial nominee, I think the president may be looking at, somewhere to make up, for that for him. Again, the state has enormous potential in the maritime sector. And coming from there too,
MPA, Nimasa.
Of course. You know what we have in terms of coastline? It's massive. So
What are we?
Yeah, bringing the young man to such a place where he can develop and not just, that place it's a revenue generation place. You don't just need anyone there. Someone who can drive it to bring results. So I think he will be very useful. In fact, I would rather pitch him for that place than the Ministry of Petroleum, because in Ministry of Petroleum today, you need an a no-nonsense radical person that can put an end to the economic insecurity in that area. Between July 22nd and 28th, like 1 week alone, we had 139 cases of crude oil theft. So you need a radical person that can bring a change. So for that young man, I think I'll be looking at the maritime much more than the petroleum.
Yeah, that's what probably.
Yes, talking about Kwara now, Lateef Fagbemi. I think Lateef Fagbemi can function as the Attorney General of the Federation.
He can function, or he will be.
Only. Do not fit for the position.
It's a shoehorn for the job of Attorney General. I can't see where else he can function. You are not going to make information minister. So it's best for that job. Although there are other lawyers too.
Yeah.
Okay, Amo is there, but I think in terms of experience and everything, Lateef Fagbemi, with his track record, he will be able to do a good job for us there. And as the Attorney General of the Federation is by ranking the most senior minister.
It's mentioned in the Constitution.
He's the most senior minister, and that is the only minister that you cannot delegate his job to anybody. And that is the only minister that the president can't do his job for him. That is the only minister that you have to be educationally qualified to man that position.
All right. Okay, just before we go, let's take time to say happy birthday to a business, a woman, community leader, and Christian cleric, Mrs. Olufunke Olu Onyilola, who had another year today. Jide, Olufunke Olu Onyilola.
Congratulations to her. She's a very energetic woman and very well loved by her people. We wish her many more years, good health.
So, on behalf of journalists Hangout and crew, we say congratulations and happy birthday to Mrs. Olufunke Olu Onyilola.
Where's the birthday item number 7?
She has to send it. We'll wait. We'll wait.
Oh, my.
All right. Kola Ole Johnson, I want to thank you for sneaking in today.
Hey, why?
I don't know the next time I will see you.
I've been around here for some days now.
All right, and the master himself, Babajide Kolade.
Yes.
The cold is dealing with you, and
Seriously.
your voice is struggling with your voice. We'll release you today, don't worry.
We are conspiring.
I'm telling you,
we'll release you. Just tap into that anointing.
The evil people are conspiring to silence me.
And that's our package today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.
Pass ball. What? Here for skills. Here for choice. Here for fans. Here for dreams. Here for goals. Here for celebrations. Whether she's playing or watching the beautiful game, we're here for her. Here for all 64 matches of the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023. Live on Supersport. Get and stay connected.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Are you worried about the safety and security of your home at night? Do you wish to know when intruders come close to your home? Or do you want to protect what matters to your family from anywhere at any time? What if there was a convenient, affordable way to keep surveillance in your home without having to worry about wires, installations, or heavy light bills? Introducing the incredible Sidebulb HD Cam, the robotic 360-degree two-way torque camera with action tracking technology. Sidebulb is the ultimate solution for discreet and powerful surveillance. It's so easy to install, and the app lets you rotate and view the video from your Sidebulb in real time from any smartphone. You can drop in from anywhere and check in with our two-way talk technology. Talk and listen.
Hey, sweetie. I'll be home soon, okay?
Sidebulb's advanced tracking technology locks onto motion and tracks in real time. Set the siren alarm to go up when motion is detected and keep intruders away. Check in on your home while you're away. Safely interact with visitors at your doorway or surprise a trespasser.
Surveillance in a light bulb. I was amazed at the 360-degree rotation. It gives me a full view of my house and I can check in on my kids.
And it's made for indoor and outdoor surveillance.
The Sidebulb HD Cam is now available in Nigeria exclusively from ShopX TV. You could be paying up to 200,000 naira for an indoor and outdoor security system that doesn't fully secure your home. But call the number on your screen now and get the Sidebulb HD Cam for just 45. If you order now, you get the Sidebulb HD Cam delivered to you for free wherever you are in Nigeria. So, call the number on your screen now or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts. The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
It's 77th day of President Bola Tinubu's administration, and we're back monitoring developments in his first 100 days in office. Thank you for joining us on the program. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. So it's exactly 1 week after the confirmation of 45 ministers designate by the Red Chamber, and Nigerians are looking forward to President Bola Tinubu assigning portfolio to the confirmed ministers designate as they await in earnest the renewed Hope agenda. There's also another update coming from the Nigeria Labour Congress President Joe Ajaero saying if there is another increase in petrol pump price, there would be a total, comprehensive and indefinite nationwide shutdown of the country. The NLC president gave the notification at the African Trade Union Alliance meeting in Abuja, where organized labor also warned against undermining the demands of the union. Earlier on Sunday, oil marketers indicated that the cost of premium motor spirit would rise to between 680 naira per litre and 720 naira per litre in the coming weeks, should the dollar continue to trade from 910 naira to 950 naira at the parallel market. We're joined now by IPMAN President Chinedu Okoronko for more on this development. Thank you for joining us on the program this evening. There are strong indications that we're in for yet another pump price increase, and it would be perhaps the third within 10 weeks. What's the update and what's the reason for this? Well, I understand that Mr. Okoronko will be joining us in the course of this program. Hopefully we can get some updates from IPMAN as regards what's happening in that area. However, let's bring you some updates within the presidency. The acting governor of the CBN says President Bola Tinubu is very concerned about the developments in Forex, its impact on the ordinary Nigerians, and is saying that the president is seeking to improve the liquidity in the market with the new measures that will be rolled out by the country's apex bank. The acting CBN governor also strongly warned speculators involved in round-tripping that these measures will put them out of business and incur losses for them. He insists that the exchange rate in the official market has been relatively stable and blamed the instability on speculative demand by people.
In the State House, and Mr. President was very concerned, or is very, very concerned about some of the goings on in the foreign exchange market. And one of the things we discussed were what could be done to stabilize and what could be done to improve the liquidity in the market and also the goings on in the various other markets, including the parallel market. He is concerned about its impact on the average person, since unfortunately a lot of activities that we do which are purely local are still referenced to exchange rates in the parallel market. We've discussed and I've shared with him what we're doing to improve supply. If you look at the official market, you'll find that that market has been fairly stable and the spreads or the difference have not fluctuated as much. We do not believe that the changes going on in the parallel market are driven by pure economic demand and supply, but are topped by speculative demand from people. Some of the plans and strategies which I'm not at liberty to share with you mean sooner rather than later the speculators should be careful, because we believe the things we're doing, when they come to fruition, may result in significant losses to them. But my presence here is more about the concerns the President has and his need to know that we are doing something about it, assurances of which I have given him totally.
State House correspondent Femi Akode joins me live from the presidential villa. Femi, help us break down what Mr. President's concerns are and the exact intervention coming from the CBN at this time.
50 to 60%. Well, Ifemi, the president's concerns are the general concern of Nigerians with the fluctuating forex market that has impacted virtually everything in the country, from commodities to goods, food prices, and even the pump price of petrol. The hike we are experiencing in the pump price of petrol is also being influenced by the fluctuating or the hike in the dollar rate in the foreign exchange. You know, all of these concerns have also reached the doorstep of President Bola Tinubu, and what he has done with these new measures is like giving the Central Bank of Nigeria a sledgehammer to hit whoever these speculators are, especially the money deposit banks, who they say are most times involved in round tripping, because you know the previous administration of the central bank took the monies from the Bureau de Change, the BDCs, and handed them the dollar to the money deposit banks. But since that happened, a lot of people do not have access to these foreign exchange PTAs, and a lot of people involved in legitimate business do not have access to the dollar. What President Tinubu is saying now is that strong sanctions is instructing the CBN to do, and we believe what the CBN will be doing is enforcing strong sanctions against these money deposit banks who are involved in speculating. We're also hearing that some of the measures that will be introduced will be injecting huge funds in dollars now into the country's foreign reserve to shore up that reserve, and that would also create stability in the foreign exchange market. But all of this will be done without resorting to borrowing. That is one thing President Bola Tinubu is seeking to avoid desperately, to ensure that the country again is not indebted. And we are hearing again that some of these speculations in the foreign exchange market could also be as a result of, you know, the audit that is ongoing
in the Central Bank of Nigeria, the revelations we are hearing, a lot of things that have been unraveled in the Central Bank of Nigeria are perpetrated by the previous administration in the CBN, the previous leadership in the CBN. All of these have also contributed in causing that instability in the foreign exchange market. And well, President Bola Tinubu is up to the task, and that is what he is saying, in showing that yes, he knows what time it is, and putting the right doing the right thing at in the nick of time to ensure that this rise in Forex is quickly checked. I know it also comes at a time when the president's approval rating, according to a poll conducted by an online paper, Cable, is at 62%. You know, quite impressive for a president who is just about 2 months in office. So with all of these measures again, that would ensure that there's a quick reversal in the momentum in the foreign exchange market and the parallel market. You know, this would also help raise that approval rating quite higher to a considerable level. So we believe that in the coming days, all of this will begin to have impact in all sectors of the economy, especially the pump price of petrol, which we hear that Labour is already spoiling for a fight if the pump price is further jacked up. Nifemi.
Talking about the approval rate, Femi, we understand that independent marketers are now talking about the impact that the Forex is having on the landing cost and what it means for the pump price of petrol in the coming days. But just how volatile is this rating, particularly when you consider the president's intervention? Is there a timeline as to when Nigerians can begin to feel the impact of what the CBN is doing in this regard?
The acting governor of the CBN specifically said in the coming days, so we do not expect it to take weeks or months before Nigerians begin to feel that impact. It's immediate. The injection of funds into the country's foreign reserve will be done with immediate effect. The measures and that will be put in place and laws that will be put in place for money deposit banks to strictly comply with will be put out within days. We are expecting to hear a statement from the central bank today or tomorrow, and with immediate effect we also expect compliance by the money deposit banks, people doing businesses, imports and other kind of legitimate business that are in need of Forex can go to the banks. And you know, the hassles involved in getting Forex will now be eliminated, and any bank found wanting will be sanctioned and might also be denied Forex. And you know that a lot of banks would not want this kind of sledgehammer to fall on them. Nifemi.
Interesting development. We're looking forward to all of these new interventions and how much impact they will have on the purchasing power for the average Nigerian in the coming days. State House correspondent Femi Akonde live for us at the presidential villa. We're going on a break now. When we return, I'll be joined by a personal finance expert. So what happens when Nigeria's purchasing power is being deeply affected, the cost of living steadily rising and household disposable incomes shrinking? What must you do differently in these days, particularly in the midst of all of the strategies that this new administration is employing? We'll be talking more about that in a minute. Stay with us.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do solemnly swear.
In just 23 days, President Bola Tinubu would have spent 100 days in office. Is now reassured Nigerians that no stone will be left unturned in his pursuit to ensure that things get better, particularly in stimulating the economy. The president made this known when the Board of Trustees of the All Progressives Congress Professionals Forum, led by former Bauchi State Governor Issa Yuguda, visited him in the presidential villa on Friday. While thanking President Tinubu for his bold interventions on the economy, the former Bauchi State Governor said more than 2 million people have now registered as professionals in different fields since 2018 and are ready to sensitize the public on government's policies.
We paid a courtesy visit to Mr. President to congratulate him on his success in the elections, in the polls, and of course to commend him for the efforts so far in rebuilding confidence and also making sure that the economy is moving in the right direction. We've seen the bold steps he's taken, and we're praying for him. And of course, as an appendage of APC, as a political party, we are a body of professionals ranging from bricklayers to rocket scientists. We're all professionals. And the forum was registered way back in 2018. Given that there is that perception there out in the public that politicians are rogues, politicians are thieves, politicians are so on and so forth. Even going to the extent that today the banking industry has more like as a policy not lending to politicians and their families. And also he's addressing also the issue of corruption. And I believe we thought we should just mention it to him. But with corruption and insecurity, we believe things might not be very good. So, and Mr. President is already addressing that. So we commended him for that effort.
All right. So will Nigerians be will they have to pay more for the pump price of petrol in the coming days? Let's find what's happening. Let's find out what's happening in that brigade. IPMAN President Chinedu Okoronko joins me now on the program. Thank you for finding time to join us at this time. What's the truth about the indications we're hearing about yet another increase in the pump price of petrol?
Okay. I think all these things happening now is the regime of removal of subsidy. The market realities is what we are seeing. Before, government would have been using their money to cushion these things. Now that government said, look, we can't handle it again. That is what we are bearing now. That is why you can see the thing is no more fixated. People in Kaduna is not enjoying the same price with people in Lagos. Before it used to be a uniform price. No more equalization. Business of PMS is like any other business, maybe milk, fish.
What are the key factors here? Because we're hearing a lot. Some are talking about landing cost. Others have talked about foreign exchange and even the price of crude oil.
Yeah, you know, when you are not refining this thing here, factors affecting the price internationally will also come to play. I think that is what we are beginning to see. But before, all these things were really not on by the masses. Government was taking it. And this new government, in their own wisdom, felt they are not going to continue to bear this. Let's see if we can use this money and address other issues. I think that is what we are seeing now. So the reality is there. But thank God we have other energy mix in the place of CNG, compressed natural gas, which I think the government have also agreed that this is the way to go.
I hear you, and that's pretty much in the pipeline, particularly when you hear government's plans in this regard. But can you confirm for us that the landing cost of petrol increased by 37%, you know, on a month-by-month basis?
Let us not begin to talk about landing costs. Now, you called me IPMAN President. That is what I am. We are in the filling station buying this fuel from farm owners and the NPC. For now, we've not started importing. So begin to dive into area that have not really.
So what's the
Right.
projection?
Might
What's the
not be-
projection? What's the price projection that we're looking at as at today?
The projection will not be accurate if I give you now. Like today, some tank farm owners in Lagos are selling 580, 575. Ordinarily before, it was about 450 something or 460 something. So we might be expecting a huge price, whereas tomorrow it might not be. This product, it will either go up or down. It's not suggested. It's not, they begin to talk about price change. This is it's the realities of the market we are seeing. Now, Nigerian government is making good money from selling their crude. Before, when they sell it, they'll also use in the subsidy. And a lot of vices. Now, I'm not ruling out the level that there will not be criminality, but it's so transparent now that you can catch people who wants to do some underhand deals. That is what this government is now bringing to bear. So what we need now is an alternative to this fuel and allow government to make their profit, reduce pressure on the naira by importation, and that is what is locally here. I continue to say it because until people begin to understand what I'm saying. We say we have gas here. Gas. I'm talking about fuel. This is gas that is being fled in billions of cups. Can't we use it?
All right.
For the good of this country.
Thank you for your contribution, President Ipman Chinedu Okoronko. Good to hear your thoughts on this development story. Let's turn our attention now to CEO Set Group, a personal finance expert, Dr. Sami Akindipe. Thank you for joining us on the program. What kind of adjustments do you think Nigerians now have to make in the face of our economic reality?
Thank you for having me. And I would like to start by saying that one of the major challenges that we see is that the dollar rate change, the inflation rate increases. Businesses in Nigeria needs to now look at how can we pull in joint efforts. And then when I say joint effort, you want to look at businesses you can partner with and look at some of the overhead costs that is similar and then see how you work together. So a practical example is a business A that is willing to move with the business B, and both of them used to burn fuel of about, let's say, 50,000 every month individually, can now come together, deliver the same 50,000, or let's even say 80,000, reduce the overhead cost, share some other bills like that, and then they still be able to share the office space together and business is still running. So small businesses can look at taking advantage of that, and the federal government and the state government can also begin to look at, okay, how can we create a hub for small business owner where the overhead costs will be shared together such that we are able to push in the effects for small business owner. The same thing goes for individuals. So they have to begin to look at the digital space. The digital space is about the place where you can do things globally, and then you'll be able to earn in foreign currency. So you are not only affected by the local currency, you are able to take advantage of making money on the online platform in foreign currency and then bring it into the country rather than Nigerian taking money outside the country. And I think the government should also look at that direction. We have a large population of young people that can work online. Why don't we create a centralized hub that will make young people to come on board and then be able to work on daily basis and then make some good money for themselves. And then we can attract jobs from different parts of the world where the labor cost is high. This is what I'm saying. Now, if you are going to get a secretary in England, for instance, you have to pay the secretary very high. Part of the job the secretary will do is to type your letters, put things together for you, And you can get that done online by transferring that labor to Nigeria, but the government is the one that can make that possible.
Let me hold you for a minute, Mr. Akindikwe. News just reaching us. We have a breaking news. The Nigerian Air Force MI-171 helicopter on a casualty evacuation mission crashed today at about 1 p.m. at Chukuba village in Niger State. The aircraft had departed Zongeru Primary School en route Kaduna, but later discovered to have crashed near Chukuba village in Shiroro local government area of Niger State. We understand that efforts are currently ongoing to rescue the crew and passengers on board the helicopter, while preliminary investigations have also commenced to determine the probable cause of the crash. We're following that story closely and we'll bring you more updates shortly. National Finance expert Dr. Sami Akindikwe, thank you for staying in the course. You've talked about the approach that small businesses and individuals can take in order to adjust to what is the current economic situation. But let's look at the reaction also coming from organized labor. NLC is saying that if there is another increase in the pump price, which would be the third in 10 weeks, then there will be a complete shutdown. What's the implication of that on many of the interventions and strategies that you've talked about?
Basically, what the NLC is how to do, the organized labor is how to do, is just to make the government do something that will make it life easier for the people, basically. But we should not also forget that this same fuel issue started some years back. If we don't solve this problem, it will be carried forward. And it's better we resolve it once and for all. I think a deliberate discussion about the way forward will help us more. Because when there is a total shutdown, productivity is out.
Sounds like you are appealing to organized labor to understand government intervention. I'm afraid we have to continue this conversation subsequently. But a big thank you to CEO Set Group, Dr. Sami Akindikwe, for sharing with us on the program. That's first 100 days. You can watch a repeat broadcast at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. We're back with more stories at the top of the hour. Stay with us.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopEx TV. Do you spend the night trying to get comfortable? Your knees rub bone on bone. Your back and hips ache. You wake up in pain? Not anymore. ShopEx TV is proud to introduce the Contour Legacy Pillow, the patented, ergonomically designed tapered leg pillow that naturally fits the contours of your legs, knees and thighs to help align your spine and alleviate pain. Watch, when you sleep on your side, your leg falls forward, twisting your pelvis and lower back, putting pressure on your spine, hip and sciatic. But the Contour Legacy Pillow cushions your knees and cradles your legs, relieving stress on joints while restoring your lower back alignment. Sleeping on your side, your leg comes over and puts you out of alignment, causing lower back pain, hip pain, even knee pain. By Nigeria, exclusively from ShopEx TV. You could be paying up to 500,000 naira for an orthopedic bed that doesn't properly support your spine. But call the number on your screen now and get 2 legacy leg pillows for just 69,900 naira and get relief from back and hip issues. But wait! If you call now, we'll upgrade you to the Contour Better Sleep Collection. The collection comes with 2 Contour Legacy leg pillows and 2 Contour Cool Gel head pillows at no extra charge. The Contour Cool Gel head pillows' soothing orthopedic support will cradle your head and neck for full alignment. while keeping you cool all through the night for the best sleep of your life. Incredible! That's 2 Contour Legacy pillows and 2 cool gel head pillows for just 69,900 naira. And that's not all. Place your order now and we'll also deliver your Contour Better Sleep collection with no shipping charge. But hurry! This is an exclusive ShopX TV offer and only available for a limited period. So, call now while stock lasts. Your rest is your wealth.
The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
It's indeed a delight to bring you another episode of NAFDAC and Your Health, the TV program that intimates you on the activities of NAFDAC at protecting our health. I am Amanda Ugo.
On today's edition of NAFDAC and Your Health, we will be starting with the importance and numerous advantages of breastfeeding, and this will lead to the commemoration of World Breastfeeding Week held recently by NAFDAC at the agency's office in Isolo, Lagos State. And in the second segment, we will be looking at drug abuse and the havoc it wreaks in the society. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, will also be talking on parts of the efforts NAFDAC has made and is still making in the fight against drug abuse through the agency's Directorate of Narcotics and Controlled Substance. Breastfeeding is one essential responsibility that mothers owe their babies to give the baby a germane foundational factor for growth. But nowadays, most parents have neglected breastfeeding for substitute but extremely less beneficial means of feeding their babies.
We could do much better, of course, in terms of breastfeeding. Sometimes I wonder why it is even an issue. Breastfeeding is supposed to be normal for a child. We were breastfed for more than 2.5 years, my own generation. And some of the illnesses that are afflicting the younger generations are not afflicting us. Of course, other illnesses may come in because of one factor or the other. But we were breastfed because our parents know that it is primary responsibility to give that child a good start in life. Breast milk comes with a lot of immune factors that could prevent illnesses in the future. Again, a child can be ill. Malaria, if a child is bitten by mosquito, the child can have malaria, things like that. But in terms of making sure that the foundation is good, it is breast milk. Our parents were mostly agrarian, at least my own generation, which means they can do breastfeeding at any time. But now that we are young, the younger generations have to go to work, they can still breastfeed. My own children breastfeed their children, despite the fact they are working. Because you can still pump the milk and put in a bottle, take it to daycare. This is reality. Not many parents are staying at home again. Unlike our own parents that are agrarian, they go to the farm, but the child is always there with them. But the most important thing is to focus on the milk. So long as that child gets the milk, the breast milk, the best thing is to, of course, breastfeed. If you're at home, there are some parents that don't work or that have kiosks in front of their houses and whatnot. They can breastfeed very well. If you come back from work, you can breastfeed. But if you are not there, the first thing is not formula. It's expressed milk from the breast. And why is that so important? I've said it. We are laying a good foundation in terms of the health of that child. So it shouldn't be a problem. Our parents have something that they were handed over to by the other ancestors and so on. But somehow we don't seem to understand that breast milk is the best. Does that mean that a child cannot be given a bottle? If the mother is very ill, there is nothing you can do. But these are all exceptions. It's not the rule, So unless the mother is very, very ill, then an alternative can be given. But this is an exception, not the rule. Somehow I don't know why it has become so difficult for young mothers to think of alternative. If it is cosmetics, God didn't give us a breast for cosmetic sake. It is so that our own children can be healthy, So if somebody is thinking cosmetics, think of holistic approach to life. The older mothers or relatives will have to come in, because sometimes a young mother may not have experience. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come, so I will just use bottle. You have to, especially immediately after birth, you have to keep giving it to the child. The child will draw it out later. But again, the mother is supposed to be the focus. You cannot ration food for a child, for a mother. A mother that doesn't have money to feed herself cannot be a good producer of breast milk. So the mother has to be, the people around have to know that if a child needs this milk, then the mother has to be taken care of.
On Thursday, the 3rd of August, NAFDAC joined the rest of the world in commemorating the World Breastfeeding Week. The occasion gave room for an assemblage of relevant stakeholders to discuss breastfeeding and why it should be sustained against all seeming odds. The commemoration was themed, Enabling Breastfeeding, Making a Difference for Working Parents. And among the presentations of the day was the one delivered by NAFDAC's Director of Food Safety and Applied Nutrition, Mrs. Eva Edwards.
The code is a document that was put in place in 1981, and since 1981 it has had to keep track with current realities. It has had to keep track with and pace with marketing tactics, and so we have resolutions that are brought forward by the World Health Organization, and we call them World Health Assembly resolutions. And what they try to do is to bring the code of 1981 in tune with current realities. So the code remains the code. It's read in conjunction with every subsequent relevant World Health Assembly resolution, and they all have the same legal status.
The benefits of breastfeeding cannot be overemphasized. Breastfeeding actually supports growth and development in the child, because the nutrients in breast milk complement the immaturity of the organs, because what adults could cope with, complex nutrients, the breast milk has brought it to where the child can easily take it in and make use of it to grow and develop. In terms of the mother, it protects the mother from various illnesses. It has been documented that some cancers, like breast cancer, ovarian cancer, are actually reduced with breastfeeding. High blood pressure, diabetes. Through breastfeeding, the mother can also, have very low incidence of those kind of illnesses. Then, the nature actually provides for, to a large extent, for the feeding of the baby. And these are what the mother is supposed to use in, those deposits that have been laid, that fat that have been laid down during pregnancy is what she's supposed to use, to breastfeed her babies. So if she breastfeeds, she releases those fats and that helps her to control her weight.
The program you have been watching is NAFDAC and Your Health. Please do not go away. We have more information for you on the activities of NAFDAC at safeguarding the health of the nation. We'll be back right after the short break.
The first 6 months of a baby's life brings that first grasp, that first smile, that first laugh. For the first 6 months, don't give water. Breast milk has everything baby needs to grow strong and sharp. For the first 6 months, give baby only breast milk, no water.
Start strong. Zero water exclusive breastfeeding for better future. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, Alive and Thrive, and other nutrition partners.
Beware. Fake or damaged drugs have put many people in serious health harms and have killed many others. But you can protect yourself by seeking professional healthcare advice when you feel unwell. Buy drugs from only licensed pharmaceutical outlets and make sure you check the packaging for poor condition, spelling errors, and unclear labelings. Also, check NAFDAC registration number, batch number, the expiry date, manufacturer date, and manufacturer's address before paying, and always collect a receipt. If you suspect a drug to be fake or damaged, report immediately to NAFDAC on 0800-162-3322 or send an email to sf.alert@nafdac.gov.ng. Protect yourself and your loved ones. This message is brought to you by NAFDAC with support from WHO.
Welcome back. You are still tuned to NAFDAC and Your Health.
The fight against narcotics and controlled substances have been on the front burner among the issues within the purview of NAFDAC as a regulatory agency. The reason for this is that the ruinous impact drug abuse can have on a nation could be colossal. The case of drug abuse was so endemic that the current DG of NAFDAC had to begin to tackle it head-on immediately she took over the mantle of leadership at the agency.
Drug abuse has been a concern for me since I began my job as NAFDAC DG. I remember very well my first 2 quarters in 2018. I was virtually running after tramadol because at that time Nigeria was being rained upon with tramadol coming from India, and I was amazed. Within that first quarter also, there was the issue of codeine abuse. I remember the BBC documentary on codeine abuse, how our young children were going mad, how women were trading with codeine. It was a shock for me. So I was faced with 2 problems that I never envisaged: abuse of codeine and abuse of tramadol. For the codeine, we did a lot. Of course, the then Minister of Health banned the use of codeine, and NAFDAC sent a recall letter to all codeine syrup manufacturers in Nigeria. We were able to recover about 5 million bottles of codeine, which were put on hold at the different manufacturers' warehouses. It took a while for us to get over this because we asked the government to refund the manufacturers. Only 2 or 3 manufacturers were actually featured in that documentary. But finally, the government refunded the manufacturers that recall their products, and which we have record of, and we eventually destroyed those millions of bottles of codeine in 2021.
In terms of tramadol, it was a shock to me that we had so much tramadol in 2018. But I believe what happened, from the information that I gathered, was that the Indian government was not as strict on exports of tramadol until September 2018, or maybe third quarter of 2018. And the unscrupulous importers seized the opportunity before that deadline to start raining tramadol on Nigerians and for our children, women, men, young people, old people to get hooked on tramadol. I remember that we got an intelligence report from the presidency that 31 containers of tramadol were coming our way in September. Our port inspection, I gave directive to our port inspection directorate immediately, and they went on vigil. They apprehended about 21 containers of tramadol. NAFDAC has a tracking system to know where the shipments are on the sea. As soon as the unscrupulous importers knew that our port was hot, that NAFDAC was present at the port, 4 of the containers were transloaded in Malaysia. 5 turned back and went to the Republic of Benin, and immediately we got in touch with our ambassador then that was there, Ambassador Oguntuashe. And it was a long battle. It was a long battle. At a point, the case was taken to court in Benin Republic. Finally, the government of Benin Republic said that they should be destroyed in Cotonou. And we were fortunate to get those destroyed on December 21, 2022. That was 4.5 years of waiting, of working to ensure that tramadol, those containers of tramadol never see the shores of Nigeria, in order to protect the health of our people, the sanity of our people.
NAFDAC's fight against drug abuse under Professor Mojisola Adeye's leadership has continued to employ results-oriented, dynamic and proactive strategies, and of course, these strategies have helped to achieve exponential progress over the last few years. Yet, NAFDAC is not resting on its oars. As part of its efforts to nip the abuse of drugs in the bud, NAFDAC organizes stakeholders meeting on narcotics and controlled substances. Another such meeting was held again recently.
What we try to do is really to sensitize us on not looking at it as any other drug. Because some people look at it and think it is a drug of misuse. It's actually a drug of abuse, which most of you know, because it affects the central nervous system, and of course alters the way you think and you do things. And when you use some of these things, when you don't use them as prescription drugs, you tend to use them in excess. They have a very negative effect both on the user and to our own environment as a whole. And so at the end of the day, you see people doing quite a number of things. A lot of people tend to hide under that to commit a lot of atrocities, and they endanger a lot of lives. And so that's why we have this passion that while we know that this is a pharmaceutical product, we shouldn't negate your business. We also know that it's important that we control this. And the minute you stay away from proper control, then it means you're running a chance of having government to say we should cancel the use of this particular type of drug. So I want to encourage us, even as we continue to rub minds together, that this is a drug you shouldn't look at this product as any other drug. You have to look at it as a product that can affect lives negatively. And this and when talking about lives, it could also even affect yours without even knowing. So we need to be very careful about, if you have the opportunity to whatever you're doing, you have to do things in this sector. You have to know that it is not just any other drug.
We are having this stakeholders engagement for our stakeholders, mainly for importers of narcotic medicines, for manufacturers of narcotic medicines, for importers of precursors, and importers of psychotropic substances that we regulate. And the most important thing is that we have to engage them so that we will be on the same page. We will understand NAFDAC regulations as it affects controlled medicines and other psychotropic substances. For them to understand that access is very, very important, but there must be a balance between access and control to ensure that these substances are not diverted to the illicit market for illicit.
Track and trace, otherwise known as traceability, has been a viable and quite productive tool used by NAFDAC in the drive to combat the use of narcotics and controlled substances.
When we talk about traceability, there is a need for us to be able to track NAFDAC regulated products, especially controlled drugs, from source. From the source, from manufacturing, right to the importers, to the distributors, to the retailers, right to the last person who takes these drugs, because it has a lot of advantages. First of all, we're able to track these products through the distribution system. We'll be able to have a system of recall. We have a system of recall when there are issues, regulatory issues, GMP issues with this product, we'll be able to recall. And it's also a global movement. And we as Nigerians, we cannot isolate ourselves from the global scene. So there's a need for us to have this track and traceability, and it's also a policy. It is a policy of the federal government of Nigeria, which we are implementing, and we want to start the implementation in phases. We are going to have a pilot phase starting with a group of controlled medicines.
That is all we have for you on this edition of the program. We'll be back again next week with more updates on NAFDAC's activities, which is geared towards safeguarding the health of the nation. Join NAFDAC in the fight against peddlers of adulterated food products and drugs. Contact us if you have complaints, comments, or reports.
You can reach 09-763-0506 or 0909-763-0507. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded.
It is against the law to import, produce, distribute, or market unwholesome food products and drugs, as they pose great danger to the health of the Nigerian people. Let us jointly fight against these heinous crimes. Till we'll come your way again next week. Bye for now.
Muhammad Ali was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky on January 17, 1942. His birth name was Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. He began training as an amateur boxer at age 12, and at 18 he won a gold medal in the light heavyweight division at the 1960 Summer Olympics and turned professional later that year. In his early years as a professional, Clay was more highly regarded for his charm and personality than for his ring skills. He sought to raise public interest in his fights by reading childlike poetry and spouting self-descriptive phrases like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. On February 25, 1964, at age 22, he pulled off a major upset, defeating Sonny Liston to win the World Heavyweight Championship. That same year, he shocked the boxing establishment again by denouncing his birth name as a slave name and formally took the name Muhammad Ali, which was given to him by his spiritual mentor Elijah Muhammad, leader of the Nation of Islam. For the next 3 years, Ali dominated the boxing arena. Then, on April 28, 1967, citing his religious beliefs, Ali refused induction into the U.S. Army at the height of the Vietnam War. Ali was stripped of his championship and precluded from fighting by every state athletic commission in the United States for 3.5 years. Ali's message of black pride and black resistance to white domination was on the cutting edge of the civil rights movement. In October 1970, Ali was allowed to return to boxing, but his skills had eroded. On March 8, 1971, he challenged Joe Frazier, who had become heavyweight champion during Ali's absence from the ring. It was a fight of historic proportions, billed as the fight of the century. Frazier won a unanimous 15-round decision. Following his loss to Frazier, Ali won 10 fights in a row, 8 of them against world-class opponents. After defeating Norton in a rematch, he fought Joe Frazier a second time and won a unanimous 12-round decision. Ali was the first fighter to win the World Heavyweight Championship on 3 separate occasions. He successfully defended his title 19 times. His place in boxing history as one of the greatest fighters ever is secure. His final record of 56 wins and 5 losses with 37 knockouts has been matched by others, but the quality of his opponents and the manner in which he dominated during his prime placed him on a plateau with boxing's immortals. Outside boxing, Ali attained success as a spoken word artist, releasing 2 studio albums, I Am the Greatest 1963 and The Adventures of Ali and His Gang vs. Mr. Tooth Decay 1976. Both albums received Grammy Award nominations. He also featured as an actor and writer, releasing 2 autobiographies. Muhammad Ali retired from boxing in 1981 and focused on his religion, philanthropy and activism. In 1984, he made public his diagnosis of Parkinson's syndrome, which some reports attributed to boxing-related injuries, though he and his specialist physicians disputed this. He remained an active public figure globally, but in his later years made fewer public appearances as his condition worsened and he was cared for by his family. Ali was chosen to light the Olympic flame at the start of the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia. He died on June 3, 2016.
TVC News first with breaking news.
We covered the big political stories in Nigeria, but people want more than just politics.
Business news, sports naturally, but you need news to live by also.
Stories about education, health, personal finance, and hey, even lifestyle news.
Newspaper reviews, travel news, and much more.
Nigeria, it's more than just politics. It's life.
Start your day with us every weekday.
TVC News Breakfast. First, fast, balanced, and accurate.
TVC News first with breaking news.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past 3 years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
You're watching TVC News at 7. Here are the stories we're monitoring tonight. Nigerian Air Force helicopter Mi-171 crashes at Chukuba village in Niger State. Benue residents protest killing of 3 IDPs in renewed attack on the Tese community in Guma Council area. And Ukraine claims gains near Bakhmut as Russian currency continues to slide. And in sports, Paris Saint-Germain agrees to deal to sell Brazil forward Neymar to Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal. This is TVC News at 7, reaching you live from our headquarters here in Lagos. We begin in Niger State, where a Nigerian Air Force Mi-171 helicopter on a casualty evacuation mission crashed today at about 1 p.m. near Chukuba village in Niger State. The aircraft had departed Zungeru Primary School en route Kaduna, but was later discovered to have crashed near Chukuba village in Shiroro local government area. Efforts are currently ongoing to rescue the crew and passengers on board the helicopter, while preliminary investigations have commenced to determine the probable cause of the crash. I'm joined now by TVC News correspondent Chineme Bamaye for more on this development. Chineme, what are you learning about this particular crash?
Okay, thank you. Very recently, there's been a resurgence of attacks, of banditry attacks in some of these local governments, especially in Rafi, in Munya, and in Wushishi local government. This particular attack happened around Wushishi local government, where Zungeru is. And yesterday, there was an attack by the military. There was an attack yesterday that led to the death of about 10 or 11 military men and unspecified number of vigilantes, and about 50 bandits were said to have been killed in the attack. So it was the evacuation process that the helicopter was engaging that this crash happened. After lifting the bodies of the soldiers that were slain, it was again that the crash happened. And of course, there were speculations about what caused the crash. Right now, some villagers are speculating that it was a particular camp of bandits that shot down the helicopter. We don't have an authoritative clear word on this, but that's a speculation. Right now, like you rightly said, the Nigerian Air Force is yet to determine the cause, or is yet to talk about the cause of the crash.
What about the number of people on board and if there are any casualties?
Okay, we've not heard anything concerning that right now, apart from the statement that was released. But it's important to note also that there are also news that the attack was the attack yesterday that led to this number of casualty was leaked. The operation was leaked, which led to the casualty that we have. That made the casualty rose to that figure. But right now, there's no figure as to the number of persons on board or the number of lives lost in this particular crash.
Chineme Bamaye, live for us in Niger State. We're back with you when you have more updates on this story. Now let's turn to Benue State, where residents have called on the federal government to intervene in the increased killings in the north-central region of the country. They made this call after a renewed attack on the Tese community in Guma local council, killing 3 internally displaced persons in Benue State. Maiwo Kwato reports.
Nigeria's North Central, previously known for its serenity and bustling economic activities, has today become one of the most insecure regions in the country. This is due to the level of wanton killings and destruction caused by activities of rampaging criminal gangs, a mix of religious fundamentalists and unknown gunmen. Just last week Thursday, at least 17 people were killed in an attack carried out by unknown gunmen on a community in Bakin-Ladi local government, North Central Plateau State. On Friday, 3 internally displaced persons were killed in Kyongu, Otesi community in Guma local council in Benue following renewed gunmen attacks. Women and youth led a protest on Friday to register their displeasure.
So the 3 of my camp members went outside to find food for their members in the camp. When they would go, Fulanis killed 3 of them.
All our farms, they clear all. They cut our yams, eat our guinea corn, our corns and everything.
Commuters were at the receiving end as the Makurdi-Lafia road was blocked by demonstrators.
They come around 6:30 in the evening. So we are there for then one survive, and the one will survive. They know very well that Nafulani come to attack them. So nothing will happen with that. Day before yesterday, they come attack those my people. They are killed that yesterday. Not only God then served them that yesterday, and that day before yesterday. Then they still come back that yesterday to come my kill.
After several hours, it took the intervention of the military to unblock the highway to allow free flow of traffic. Killings of this manner have been the challenge past administration tried hard to put a stop to. In the early days of a new administration in Benue, the killing seems to have increased in intensity. This new government is expected to, as early as possible, give a definitive response to end this waste of lives and properties in the region. Mayowa Okwato, TVC News, Makadi.
Mayowa joins me now for more on this story. Has there been any response, particularly from the state government, following this protest?
However, well, Nifemi, I would say there have been response per se, because these killings have not just been in Otesi alone. The governor had paid visits to Kasinala, Nkum local governments, where there had been earlier killings, where he even brokered peace between community chiefs and the host community and the people that are affected by these killings. The state government also is working towards bringing together communities. You know, this crisis is basically of different kinds. There are those of communal clashes, there are those of elders farmers clashes. So to broker peace in this kind of situation, you have to bring in parties to a round table to find a solution to these killings. Basically, the state government put things in place like security agencies. I had a meeting with security agencies, the military, the police, and others to position them in places where there could be possible crisis or where it's sensitive that there could be killings. So all this have been put in place to ensure these killings come to a stop. Moreover, it's a sensitive issue in the sense that the past administration had almost throughout its last term fight these killings, try to stop these killings by bringing in laws like the open grazing law and other laws that could hinder crises such as this. And that could hinder...
It seems the crisis still abates, but I just want you to quickly confirm for us if there's been any military response in form of security infrastructure in place in Otese after the latest attack.
Well, as at the latest attack, that's not to say the mounted trucks, the presence of military men on ground, and then there were police also that would survey the situation and ensure there's not a reprisal attack or a follow-up attack also by this gunmen.
Maiwa Kwato live for us in Benue State. And now let's turn to Bauchi State, where a portion of the federal highway connecting 4 states in the northeast region with the rest of the country through Bauchi has collapsed, leaving hundreds of motorists stranded for days. Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahya, who visited the site in Bauchi, is calling on the federal government to urgently find a permanent solution to the dilapidated federal highway. Correspondent Larry Adeyemi reports.
Adamawa, Borno, Taraba and Gombe states are all linked with the Middle Belt and southern Nigeria through this road in Bauchi State. Angry and frustrated, commuters stranded for several days as a portion of this road collapsed after heavy rains. A visibly angry Gombe governor challenged engineers from the Federal Ministerial Works and the contractor who has been on site for 5 years.
What is your rank? Where is the controller? I was at the Federal Ministry of Works 4 times on this issue, and it has not been solved. I just want to remind them that this is part of Nigeria, and this problem has to be solved. If they have all the money to take a rail line and go to Maradi in Niger Republic, they should have no reason not to address this issue in Gombe State and in Adamawa State and in Bauchi State. That is the point I want to stress.
The sector command of the Federal Road Safety Corps recounts several cases of accidents on this route as drivers share sad stories of robberies and loss due to the deplorable condition of this all-important interstate road.
You can observe that this is a major pathway into the northeast, and we are always here. The Federal Road Safety is always present here. We have recorded cases of a traffic crash in the past.
Even day before yesterday, I was attacked by one of them. They have collected my phone. Right now, they don't have any 100 with me. And they have 50,000 naira from my motor. And they beat two of my passengers.
There are so many kidnappers on the road. They have killed some drivers, give them gunshots. So many people have died. But we also sometimes we go around enter bush. But later, all those things finished, we still come back to where our vehicle. This is my vehicle.
The Bauchi-Gombe Express Road was constructed in 1976. In the past 47 years, only minor repair work has been done on it. Governor Yaya is leading the charge of the leaders and the people demanding a total repair of this economic lifeline of the Northeast region. Landry Adeyemi, Kalajanga, Bauchi State.
Let's get more perspective on the collapsed road. I'm joined by DG Press Affairs to Gombe State Governor Ismaila Uba Misili. So when the governor visited the road, we saw that it would seem work was ongoing. What exactly is the challenge here? Is it the pace at which the work is being done, or a situation of previous neglect?
Well, thank you so very much for having me this evening. Greetings from the Jewel in the Savannah. Of course, out of concern, His Excellency this morning visited the Kalajanga axis of this very important road, which links Gombe State, what you said, and indeed all the northeastern states with the rest of the country, especially through the north central and to the south. So, of course, yes, on getting there, we discovered that the contractor was fully mobilized to do some palliative work there. And His Excellency was pleased that, yes, they were doing it, but was unhappy at the face of the work, especially in view of the fact that the road is a very, very important road, vital one for that matter, connecting, like I mentioned, all the states in the northeast, particularly Gombe, Adamawa, Taraba, and parts of Borno. So the road is being fixed by the federal government, but His Excellency is urging the contractors to speed up the work so that in 2 days or 3, highest maximum of 4, they will fix the road.
So the governor mentioned that he's made such intervention a couple of times in the past. What kind of assurance is the Gombe State governor, receiving from these contractors and indeed the Ministry of Works for a quick intervention?
Well, the contractor, of course, assured His Excellency that latest by Thursday, they will complete the palliative work. Like you said, yes, His Excellency visited the Federal Ministry of Works many times, 4 times, 3 of which I traveled with him to Abuja, and indeed I accompanied him to the Federal Ministry of Works. And on all the visits, he put forward all those issues concerning the roads in the Northeast, particularly that of Gombe Bauchi, and also that of Gombe Potiskum, that is Potiskum in Yobe State. And of course, that of Gombe BU in Borno State, as well as that of Gombe Yola, Gombe Numan Yola. So he has been pushing for the rehabilitation or even reconstruction of such roads, especially like this one that we just visited. This road was constructed almost 50 years ago, but you can see there was not any major repairs on the road, only this annual patching, that is always taking place. So there's need for total reconstruction, comprehensive one for that matter, like His Excellency has put.
Well, we're counting on these interventions, particularly, making life better for people who ply that route. DG Press Affairs to Gombe State Governor Ismaila Misili, thank you for talking to us on the News at 7.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for having me. Grateful, very, very grateful to TVC. Thank you.
And coming up on TVC News at 7. Nigeria Customs intercepts vehicles containing smuggled live ammunition concealed in bags of foreign rice. We have that story and more after this break.
Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste. We pick fine quality tea leaves from selected tea gardens around the world to give you Lipton Yellow Label's flavorful and balanced taste in every sip.
A reminder of our top stories tonight. Nigerian Air Force helicopter Mi-171 crashes at Chukuba village in Niger State. Benue residents protest killing of 3 IDPs in a renewed attack on Otese community in Guma Council area. Ukraine claims gains near Bakhmut as Russian currency continues to slide. PSG have now agreed a deal to sell Brazil forward Neymar to Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal. And thanks for staying with us. And out to Bayelsa State, where a social cultural group, the Concerned Citizens of Opunembe, has commended the Inspector General of Police for his timely intervention in what is fast turning into a communal clash in the Nembe community. They spoke at a press briefing in the wake-up of shootings in Nembe on Saturday night. Joseph Kunde reports.
A shootout in Nembe headlined most online media platforms Sunday morning. This disturbing development has been raising dust among some key players in the community. But a group called the Concerned Citizens of Opunembe Kingdom, while during a press briefing, is most grateful for the timely intervention in the alleged youth crisis that has allegedly led to the loss of lives and property, with many natives living in fear away from the community. They show appreciation for the Inspector General of Police's efforts while calling on the runaway natives to return home to their families.
The security agents' action to arrest those hoodlums and cult boys terrorizing our kingdom is further demonstration of its readiness to give justice and desired peace. We therefore urge all well-meaning sons and daughters of Opunembe, Basabri community, who have deserted the community for fear of danger, to go back home and carry out their legitimate activities. For God has answered our prayers. We are sure the security agents will fish out all criminal elements in our community. We further plead with the security agents to have permanent occupation of the community until normalcy is sustained.
A case is however made for the resolution of the crisis to achieve sustainable peace in the region.
If we want a peace, there should be an arbitration panel, and that is the work of the government. But the government is also keeping quiet about it. Set up a panel and investigate. They will go and tell one section of government is because PDP, because it's big lie. We are mixed up here.
Meanwhile, the Bayelsa State Police Command has since issued a statement saying that the detachment of mobile policemen and SWAT operatives from Force Headquarters Abuja carried out the sting operation as some arms and ammunition were recovered. While the investigation is still ongoing, residents of the community have been urged to go about their normal activities. Joseph Kunde, TVC News, Yanagwa.
The Nigeria Customs Service Ogun 1 Area Command has intercepted vehicles containing huge amount of live ammunition concealed in bags of foreign rice at Tomolo Junction near Yewa North local government area. The Controller of Customs in the command, Bamidele Makinde, while parading the seized items, said his men will continue to be alive to their duties and prevent illegal movement of firearms and other contrabands across the borders. TVC News' Kazim Olawe reports.
A few days after the acting Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Bashir Adeniyi, visited the Ogun 1 Area Command at Idi Iroko, where he warned officers against compromise at borders and urged them to ensure prevention of illegal movement of firearms across the borders. Officers of the Nigeria Customs Service Ogun 1 Area Command have intercepted large amounts of live cartridges concealed in bags of foreign rice abandoned in a bush path at Tombolo Junction near Yewa North local government. While briefing journalists about the achievements of the command, the comptroller said the driver of the vehicles were suspected to have been informed about the movement of the custom operatives, and they decided to abandon their vehicles and escape through the bush path in order to evade arrest.
About 1,245 rounds of 70mm 2¾ ammunition of Lion Trust, Supreme and Red Star branded cartridges were found to have been ingeniously concealed in 20 bags of the intercepted foreign rice. While considering the potential danger of the ammunition of such magnitude, if successfully smuggled in, we redoubled our efforts to ensure they do not find their way into the country. It is a threat to safety of the border communities and national security. The distributed value of the seized ammunition and rice is 17,638,145,000.
The comptroller, who commended the acting Comptroller General of Customs for his support and motivation, promised that his officers will not leave any stone unturned in ensuring that the country's borders are well protected.
Our acting Comptroller General promised us, apart from the marching order, I thought he gave us a week. Yes, sir. He mandated us that he's given us just 1 week to make sure that we have something on ground. We are committed to ensuring maximum security of our borderlines with all sense of patriotism.
The comptroller also appreciated the support of stakeholders in the state and urged them to continue to do more, especially in the area of information. Kazim Olowe, TVC News, Abeokuta.
A coalition of persons with disabilities has recommended that the federal government should reverse the existing value-added tax from 7.5% to 5% by September 2023 to increase the purchasing power of Nigerians irrespective of subsidy removal. Speaking in Abuja at the Joint Forum of Persons with Disabilities, they want government to also halt further increases in existing taxes, tariffs and duties. Helen Osamide Akins has more.
On May 29, 2023, Nigerian government announced the removal of its subsidy on premium motor spirit, resulting in an increase in the cost of the products. The cost of fuel rose from 198 naira per litre to 617 naira per litre between May and July 2023, with the cost likely to rise again to 720 naira per litre if the dollar continues to rise against the naira. The fuel subsidy removal has had a rapid multiplier effect on the cost of goods and services. Most Nigerians have been deeply affected by the increase in transportation, food items, healthcare, and other essential goods and services. This group of citizens, who represent a large percentage of the country's population, are worried over the manner which the increase is affecting members of their community. They want the government to halt further increases in existing taxes, tariffs and duties to help cushion the effect of the subsidy removal.
Many percentage of us are unemployed. So how do you expect to achieve 7.5% of taxes from this community if you are excluded from being employed in this country?
We are calling on government to bring us also on the table in the committee that they are having. Let a member of disability committee be part of that committee so that the person will continue to bring out the issues affecting persons with disabilities. Persons with disabilities have their peculiar needs, and if you are not wearing the shoes, you don't know where it pinches. You may not necessarily understand what a person with disability is going through.
Commended the initial economic palliatives announced by President Bola Tinubu in his national broadcast on July 31st, they are mindful that if not well implemented, the palliatives may not reach the people who need them the most as experienced in the past.
So they want the federal and state governments to initiate a standalone social protection intervention for persons with disabilities, including establishing a reliable database for food banks for an equitable distribution of economic palliatives and targeted financial assistance. Helen Osamide Akins, TVC News, Abuja.
Member representing Ojobi Federal Constituency at the National Assembly has charged traditional leaders to promote good governance for the smooth running of the new administration. David Ogewu made this call while visiting his constituents and interfacing with traditional rulers in his local council. Maiwa Kwato reports.
The traditional leaders have extensive statutory power, duties and functions. These include maintaining law and order in their domains. Promoting the interest of their community and actively encouraging the moral and social well-being of their people. The member representing Oju Obi Federal Constituency, David Ogewu, reminds traditional leaders of this at the Aderu Igede Palace. He also relayed goodwill of the state governor to the traditional rulers with the assurance that Governor Halia is ready to turn the fortunes of Benue State around, particularly through the construction of Ojo, Ocheu and Obarike to Ito Alede roads. He is optimistic that the lingering cry about Otukpo Oju Ogoja Federal Road will soon be addressed, as well as the road linking Oju to Ebonyi.
Own governor, our leader, His Excellency, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, who has also sent his thank you message to my people. I have told my people his message delivering to them. They also appreciated, and they asked me to also tell him that I am strongly behind him.
Traditional leaders, while applauding Mr. Ogewu, condemned the new trend of bad politics among Igede elites. Leaders of Obi and Oju community were urged to embrace the immediate resolution of the issues of electricity springing up at Imoho community.
All his steps are in order. He has come to reposition Benue State from its doldrums to the promised land.
I've been a
widow since right from year 2002 up to this now. We have been suffering for many things, but since
Ogewu also seizes the moment to appreciate God and the people for the victories at the poll. He also reached out to thousands of widows drawn from Obi and Oju local government areas. Mayowa Okwanto, TVC News, Oju.
Back in Lagos, Christian Association of Nigeria Lagos branch has described the recent Muslims' reactions to Governor Sanwo-Olu's cabinet nominees list as amounting to religious bullying of Christians in the state. They want the State Assembly to continue with the screening of nominees. Senior correspondent Ivy Kano reports.
This media briefing is to clarify exactly how they feel about recent issues in the nation and Lagos State in particular. His Lordship, Right Reverend Stephen Adebite, is the association chairman in Lagos. He started with a reaction to Muslims' rights group description of the governor's cabinet nominees list as unfair.
That these remarks and actions are not only distasteful and way out of line, they are deeply condescending, and we refuse to accept any form of faith and religious-based bullying behavior. Neither will any semblance of such, under whatever guise, be tolerated.
He cited nominations in the past which didn't favor Christians.
Similarly, in electing the current Speaker of the State House Assembly, leader of the legislature, and the appointment of the President Chief Judge of the state, the head of judiciary, no member of the Christian community demanded that faith or religion should be a criteria, rather competence and their ranking was used. Today, the three serving distinguished senators